Hello viewers, welcome back. It's been quite a while since I did my last video, but I do like doing them. And I just had the inspiration. I've had the inspiration for a while to do one on my experience with Upwork. Upwork's a platform for freelancing, as you can see here. This is the front page when you just first visit the URL. I've been a freelancer for a couple of years now. Starting off on a website called Freelancer. If we take a look at that, it's actually even worse than Upwork. If you don't get the idea, this is probably going to be quite a negative review. So I'm going to go over the site and show you some of the things I think are just absolutely rubbish. And some of the things which are good, I suppose. I'll try and keep it unbiased, or as unbiased as I can. This is all coming from a freelancer's perspective. As a client, your experience may be different. Okay, so let's get on with it. You'll start by logging in, and you'll put in your login details. Thank you, LastPass. And this is the first page that you are presented with. It's your find work, your feed. I've got all my details here. I haven't hidden them or anything. You set yourself available to work. I've set myself as unavailable, as I'm working elsewhere at the moment. But this is your initial job feed, and your job feed is just suggested things for you. And well, the first thing I dislike about this is that the search is just crap. You have this button here called Advanced Search, which there are more options if you want to search. So you can filter by price. So for example, you could filter out this person that hasn't spent anything. You can filter out people that don't have payment verified. So I mean, automatically by thinking on that, you'd think, okay, the results that it's selected for me should be filterable here. You don't have that at all in your advanced search. It just has all of these words, any of these words. It's basically a skill and a name search. It doesn't offer any of the additional features that you'd be looking for. Now, you can save searches as well after you make a search. So say I work in DevOps. So if I search DevOps, there will be some results here. And here you can actually see all of the things that you can filter by. So I could say, right, I don't want to do any projects less than $500. I'd quite like a fixed price one. I'll remove the entry level and intermediate. But I mean, you get the idea. You can do things like that, and then you'll actually find some projects which may or may not be interested, which you may or may not be interested in. Immediately, there's not really that much that interests me here. I mean, here's one, zero spent, so you would maybe take away ones with no previous hires. That'll get rid of that one. So these search options are nice enough. And the select locations, a pet peeve of mine is I would quite like to put in the European Union, just because working remotely, it's very nice to work with. At least I've found anyway. I've worked for Americans, I've worked for people in Hong Kong, but I myself am from the United Kingdom, and it's very useful to work with people that work at the same time as you. So when they wake up, you wake up. It's not that you wake up and start work and have to wait until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon before you can get a response from your client. So it would be nice to have a filter like that. I've created my own European sysadmin one. And my second peeve on the search is that these saved searches, they don't have any of the advanced filtering. So you see, obviously here I've forgotten to take, or perhaps chose at that point not to take this. So this person offering a Docker microservices task has never spent any money. So your payment isn't really guaranteed for this task. And if we take a look into one of these, so I'll just hop into this one. They want this is actually quite this looks like quite well written out description of the task. If you actually get into looking at most of the client's details, how they've outlined the work in this details section, at least, it's terrible. You basically have no idea what they're looking for. And if you look further down, you'll see there's actually 20 to 50 people have sent in a proposal. So if you want to apply for this job, you will click submit a proposal. And if it works, this quite often just fails, but anyway. Now here you can see, you can set your hourly rate. Now, Upwork have just redone their fee schedule, which means just about all freelancers, unless you're working on a 1,000-hour plus project, which is months, they're going to take 20% off your asking fee. So say I wanted $45, that's going to be charging the client $56.25 instead. And then after that, you can upload attachments and a cover letter. This is just a standard proposal. I much prefer this system used on websites such as TopTal, which I'll speak about a bit later. But if we go back to find work, so yeah, I think the search is terrible because it just makes it really hard to use over and over again. There's strange categories in here. I think if you look in web development, you'll probably find more like really terrible ones. If you don't filter down by any of the prices and such, you'll find this one perhaps looks a bit, these two maybe look a bit suspect. Looking for someone experienced in WordPress to help fill in content for a few landing pages. Can you give us samples? Okay, I guess that it's not a very complex job, so fair enough. They're looking for the lowest rates, but they have no job history, so you can't really see what they've previously hired people for. Now look at this one. ClickBank order forms. I need a developer to customize my ClickBank order form. What the fuck does that mean? Expert level pay. I am willing to pay higher rates for the most experienced freelancers. Average hourly rate $1.64. So would you work for that? Would you really? It's in the design project stage design, so they've probably not even thought about it. As a freelancer working on things like this, you eventually come to sort of wean these out, and just you'll see something like this and just go, nope. That's on websites where they actually allow clients to put just absolute crap like this. It's just rubbish, and you just find it everywhere. WordPress is extremely popular. If you're looking to get into remote work, WordPress is probably a pretty good place to go. Get some HTML and CSS, PHP on the go, and then just hop into WordPress. There's so much work for it. So those are my problems with the search. Let's see, I've got a wee list here. So next on the list, well, okay, I'll just make my way through the site first. Proposals. This is highly unintuitive. This section around here, from like the Upwork logo along to my name, and then this bar here. So proposals, just so as you like, I submitted 2 proposals here in October 26th and November the 21st, a month and 7 days ago. There's been no response. So you often spend quite a bit of time sending like quite lengthy cover letters. This one was a really short one, but you kind of have to go through these and withdraw, just because half the clients, they're not even going to respond. They won't be there for whatever reason. So you're left hanging. Here's your profile. This is full disclosure. I might get banned from Upwork for making this video, but okay, I've got the 100% job success, which I'll come to later, as well as the top rated, blah blah blah, an overview. It's got your work history and feedback. Excellent work from one, highly recommended from another, no feedback. A lot of people just don't give any feedback, which is really great. I mean, you can see the rates compared to other places. They're not great. This one was, I think, the best that I got on. I mean, I got some that were about $100 fixed price, and it took about half an hour. So they would have been the highest that I earned. And this 64 hours at $40 was actually all right. This is like an outlier. It's very rare to find jobs of this quality, even with the top, like, they have this thing called top rated, which basically makes you stand out more, and it requires you to maintain greater than a 90% job success score. And however, how they measure that is kind of stupid. David is great and very responsive, blah 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 blah, and blah 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 blah. So you have your feedback here. You can have a portfolio. The portfolio I've put together is basically just from work I've done through Upwork. Now let's get down to the tests. The tests are, to put it politely, a joke. They're an absolute joke. So again, full disclosure, I didn't on the first time get. I don't know if clients know that you can do this or not. I think it's pretty silly, but I think the whole system is totally ridiculous anyway. So you can see display on profile. You can choose whether to display your test results on your profile. So on the Unix test, I got top 10% and went, right, show that. But you can see I've actually done it 3 times before, getting top 30%, and above average, which I was like, well, I won't show them. You can see I did this one in 7 minutes. I just rushed through it because the questions were ridiculously simple, but they had questions from the bloody 70s. Like, how do you configure a printer on RHEL 4? And it's like, who the fuck knows that? You either Google it, and fair enough. I mean, part of our craft, so to speak, is being able to Google your like answers to what you need. I mean, nobody retains all the knowledge for everything ever in their head in relation to their skill. I mean, perhaps if it's something like chess, then yeah, during a chess match you will try to remember as much of it as you can. But in terms of computing, does anybody know all Unix? Well, no, is the answer to that. So the tests give you, I think it's 45 minutes per test. They tend to take me about 10 to 20 minutes. And yeah, you can do them as many times as you want and just display the top one that you got. It seems pretty basic to me. Spanish grammar test. English to Spanish translation test. Now, I got 4.55 top 10% in 14 minutes, and I have level B1 in Spanish, which is just pretty. I mean, I have conversational Spanish at best. So, okay, fine. I'll take another top 10. Telephone etiquette, there's stuff like this. So yeah, you can just hide anything you don't do well in, and then do it again and again until you get top 10. And this is highly encouraged because the clients supposedly see this and go, oh my god. Because if you're viewing this as a client, I'll see if I can show as others see it. If you scroll down, this is all you see. This is all you see, and this looks great. Top 30, top 20, top 10, and so top 20 Python, top 10 Unix, top 10 Apache server. I mean, I'm not even great with Apache. I'm better with Nginx. Well, I am actually pretty okay with Apache, but top 10%, just no no practice or anything. Just click, 19 minutes, there you go. So I think this is absolute rubbish. Then you have bits for your employment history. I'll go back to this view. Fly through here. Employment history. So I put in some of my previous positions. Education and some other stuff. So I put in, I've done a charity skydive and done some Spanish. Okay, my stats, the next section. So top rated, 100% job success. these are 12 months earnings, although, I mean, it's in reality that's about, let's say, maybe 2 to 3 months of earnings, because I've actually been working in other places for the majority of the time. Long-term clients are hard to get. You have to maintain them as a client for a long time. And yeah, you have to maintain this mysteriously calculated job success score. They do tell you it somewhere, but they will not go into details of how you came about at the score. So what I mean to say is, say you have a job success score of 80%, and you need 90% to be top rated, and top rated is a big thing on this website. Without being top rated, you're not going to get any money, basically, and you're going to have to accept $20 an hour, or even less than that. You saw the one earlier for $1 an hour. So they don't tell you why you have 80%, but it does tell you the formula that they use, which is kind of useless if they're not going to tell you how, like, the actual numbers that went into making up your job success score. There's a little section on your communication. I mean, all of this is going to be available to the client, so you reply within a day. This touches on support. Support and communication is something that I think they're terrible at, because the reason that I don't reply within a day every single time, I mean, first of all, it's ridiculous that they would even expect you to reply within 24 hours every single time, because people are supposed to take weekends, some people have holidays, and yeah, I suppose you should change your availability, but I mean, are you going to change your availability every time you go away for 24 hours? I mean, what if you have a spur-of-the-moment trip to in my case, for example, the north of Scotland, where there's no internet access on your phone? Come back and, suddenly these scores are down. And then it has this, which either makes you feel slightly good or slightly bad. In my experience, it's always been sort of between here and about here, so doesn't mean anything to me, to be honest. This as well, who cares? Okay, so that's your stats. I've gone through the test stats profile. Let's go to my jobs now. The site is bloody slow. This is not just my connection. My connection's 120 megabit, or like 14 megabytes per second, so it's a really very slow website. Everything takes ages to load. I haven't worked here for a wee while, a few months at least. So in my jobs, you can see in my jobs you've lost all of the sort of the subsection, the subheader that you had on my work. So you have contracts and work diary. I don't actually have any at the moment, so I can't really show too much here, but there's a lot of times when you have to switch back. I mean, to see your proposals, you have to go back to find work. Why is proposals under find work and not under, why is there not a part of that under my jobs, for example? It's a bit weird. Contracts, you can see some of these. Here's one, a $70 fixed one in September, highly recommended, blah blah blah. It seems all good. And you have a work diary. Again, can't really go into that just now. Now we'll swap over to reports. Now this goes, this increases over time. This was the $70. They took 20% of that, or it was around $70, and gave me 54. So it's a substantial amount just taken out of your paycheck. And then of course they charge you money for every single withdrawal of money. So on top, so it will have been closer to $50 for a $70 like 30-minute task. And basically you have this work in progress. That's for things you're doing just now. That goes into a review period whereby it's given like a week. Then goes into pending. It's reviewed by the client for a week, then it goes into pending for a week or two, just for I don't know why, and then you can withdraw it into your account. That part's pretty fine. And messages is just messages that you have with your clients. I'm a bit less. So yeah, I mean, for example, here's somebody that invited me to a job, and I said, hello, thanks for the invitation, so blah 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 blah. I reply with a fairly brief response and get nothing, just nothing. You can see I replied like the same minute. So yeah, he invited me to a job and nothing came of it. So that's the support aspect. One of the jobs that I did was for contracts, was for a bunch of people. This was the $40 an hour one, which I gave him very bad feedback because I should probably have been more negative than that. But basically, yeah, here you can see it should have been around $2,500. But there was a family emergency up north, and I was away from the computer for around a week. And to be fair, it is partly my fault, but I didn't really have much warning, and I didn't warn them, but they complained to Upwork, and about $800 just got wiped out of what I earned for work which I'd actually done. And you know the reason why you can tell this is because they have this, a time tracker, a mandatory time tracker. You have to run this at all times, and basically it increments in 10-minute intervals. Unfortunately, I don't have an active one, an active contract, but you have to run this horrible client. Like there's no way to close these windows. The settings are rubbish. Like I've opened the settings window, I can't close it now. That's nice. I mean, it's probably, to be honest, because I'm using Linux and Awesome Window Manager. But it's just, what this does is you have this timer thing and you click start, click, and then every 10 minutes plus or minus about 5 minutes. So it could be 4 minutes, it could be 14 minutes, you don't know. It takes a screenshot of your screen, a snapshot, and then it logs it in your work diary here. So if you look in your work diary, you'll actually see normally there's lots of squares, and if for example, let's say you swapped over to Slack or something, or like, well, here's what's up. I'm sure Upwork doesn't need all of this crap. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, if you just happen to be going over onto, let's say you were checking Slack because a friend posted something, or you're in IRC asking a question, and I don't know, maybe you don't want to see the client seeing you asking a question in Freenode, or you don't want them to know your username on IRC, or whatever reason, then you have to delete those 10 minutes of work, and that's 10 minutes of pay, because it splits your hourly rate into segments of 10 minutes. So you'll get 6 payments, or 6 recorded payments. This is for hourly tasks in 1 hour. And yeah, if the screenshot happens at the wrong time, then you don't get money for that. So going back to my previous negative experience with the client, all of my work, absolutely all of it, had been recorded. There was none of it that was me just browsing Reddit idly or whatever. There was no if the Upwork staff had taken 2 seconds to just go over the snapshots, you can see here, unfortunately I can't show you in more depth because I don't actually have an active contract, but if the Upwork staff had gone and reviewed my capture history, like the screenshots, and it also logs how many keystrokes you make. So this is basically a keylogger. Well, it's not basically a keylogger, it is a keylogger. It logs every key you type. Or at least it logs how many you type. You don't know if it's a keylogger, but how hard would it be? So yeah, you can, I mean, I don't trust Upwork not to keylog everything I do, so yeah, my point is concisely that, yeah, if they'd looked over the screenshots and seen that I'd been working on the project, I'd been using their GitLab, I'd been actively using just had terminals like this open and was using Ansible and blah blah blah, then they would have seen that I'd done the work. I mean, the whole point of capturing your bloody screen is that you can actually show them that you have done the work. It's absolutely ludicrous. So that I lost a big chunk of that money for that contract, and I lost the client just because, I mean, like I said before, I'm partly to blame for not keeping the client informed, but it was a family emergency, and I felt really pissed off after that because it was outside of my control and I got penalised for it very heavily. So I think that's just crap. So what have I got on my bullet point? The clients I think are crap. Well, can be crap. There are some good clients. I'll definitely say that. There are good clients. You just have to be able to find them. I've written down shitty freelancers. I'm not certain how accurate that is, but I have heard from a lot of from various clients that a lot of the freelancers that they find on here are just terrible. And you can see that it's very much a race to the bottom, especially if you're doing, I don't know, design or something, or writing, or as I showed you before, just how bad the pay is. Estimated budget $10 for a t-shirt design. Would you do that? Maybe you would. They're looking for designers to make craft beer shirts. It's a long-term opportunity, $10. Zero spent. So you see, half of these won't respond. They're just not going to respond to you at all. Like you'll spend about 20 minutes writing out a really in-depth and thoughtful proposal to them. You'll fill out. They often have extra questions. I'll see if any of these do. Just open a couple. See if they have any additional questions. I think they're just going to be cover letter. Okay, well, quite often they have more than just a cover letter. It'll say a recent one that I did was, or the most recent one I can remember is, what are the 6 most important things when it comes to security and I think it was networking? And there are no 6 most important things. It's completely open to interpretation. So I just put down like 6 generic security things. You don't know how much the client knows, so do you dumb it down and tell? It's barely worth getting into. But this is what I found. Like, you spend more time writing cover letters, uploading perfectly defined CVs, making your profile look gorgeous, I say gorgeous, it's hard to make it look gorgeous on a site. I think it's absolutely fucking hideous to be to be polite. You spend way more time doing these fucking proposals, writing cover letters, and writing their random questions. So you spend more time doing that than actually working, and it's really not worth your time. I mean, unless you're desperately struggling for money. I won't say that you can't make money. I've made in total about, probably between 5,000 and 10,000 on this website. But the amount of effort and the amount of just rubbish, unresponsive clients you have to deal with, having to deal with this website which has frequent downtime, terrible support, a rubbish search, low-paying jobs, far too many freelancers for the number of clients that there are, freelancers willing to work for pennies, a crap user interface, this whole my stats top rated job success score and responses within a day. I mean, all of this, absolutely all of it, is just terrible. The one thing I was going to note as a positive, coming from previously working on freelancer.com, as I showed you before, is that this does actually, or at least in theory, allows you to show that you are actually doing the work, which gives the client, which does make the clients here better than the clients you find on Freelancer. The clients you find on Freelancer are like bottom of the barrel, worst of the worst. You won't find much worse than them. Yeah. I stuck with Freelancer for about a month, made about $40-$60, and then went, right, absolutely fuck this. No way. Apologies for my language, but it does make me angry. I mean, this is my living, or was my living. I now do not use either of these websites. I now use a combination of clients who I met, none of which I met through Upwork, but some I met through Freelancer, who have been fantastic and have, as we now have trust between us, I use them. I also have a few clients that I've met through local meetups by attending. If you don't know the website, meetup.com. This is fantastic. You should get on this and just like search for whatever. Where's the search? I don't see a search. But yeah, if you use this website, then you'll be able to find tech meetups in your area. So security meetup in Skyscanner, Lean Agile Edinburgh, Lean Agile Glasgow. So you see, all of these are ones which I typically, like I was at the last one of these, the DevOps and security ones. You can go to these and you can go along with like a little, what do you call it? A little card to hand out, a contact card just to hand out with your details. Make up a little website with your details, and you meet people there. You get talking. You have a as you can see there, a Kronenberg or a wee drink, and yeah, I've met one or two clients through tech meetups. I've kept a few from Freelancer, and I now use a different website called tag.com, which really is fantastic, and I will leave you a link. This suffers none of the problems that Upwork does, or Freelancer, because they only hire really, really good, like, it's actually really bloody difficult to get in, but it is a fantastic site. It has a whole community around it, and I won't go into too much detail about it, because like all the tests and stuff to get in, I mean, you have to pass multiple tests, and they're quite difficult, but yeah, you're not allowed to speak about them. But yeah, I found on here the clients are brilliant, because the clients are vetted as well. They're checked to make sure that they are good clients, and as are the freelancers. So you tend to get good rates and more frequent work and less wasted time, and you're part of a really nice community. And in fact, after you notice the TopTal name, the TopTal brand, you start noticing them at meetups and stuff. Like, people will be wearing a TopTal t-shirt. They'll just be wearing one, and you're like, oh, hey, you're with TopTal as well. Wow. And they do things like sponsor people to go to meetups and all of that. But yeah, this was mainly geared about Upwork, and Upwork is terrible. It can be a good place to make a little bit of money as a start. I mean, it can be a good introduction into online money making, and I know that, I mean, my success has been probably better than average, to be honest, on Upwork, or well, definitely better than average. But that said, I do have a friend who's got a full-time job through this website, so it is possible, and it's a good introduction into freelance work. And if you need to work on your skills a bit, then you can give it a shot. But I mean, I'd give my experiences on the whole like a 3 out of 10 for this, and it's just rubbish. So there you have it. There's my review. Thank you for watching. I think I'll roll it up there. I will leave you a link, I'll leave you a link to TopTal underneath this video, and if you would like to click on it and try and sign up, that's what I would suggest that you do, because this is rubbish. Thank you for watching. I'll be interested to see if my account gets shut down. Honestly, I would not care if it is. And thank you.